First, I just want to apologize to the citizens, to young people, to my partners, my friends, everyone I've offended, everyone I've hurt, and the city's image by pleading guilty and by being involved in all of this that has led me here today has created such a ringing negativity on our city. And I know better who I am, but I also know where I am right now. And I accept responsibility. I accept total responsibility. I've pled guilty. I'm sorry. I don't think I could say it. I don't know any other words that could be stronger. I'm so sorry. I really am sorry. My parents had 7 children, and the thing that they promised us all was a high school diploma. And so I'm sure they're smiling because they did achieve that. And when my cousin came to visit me when I was just graduated from high school, he said, "You should go to college," and I had no clue of how to get there. And so I worked 11 at night to 7 a.m. in the morning at a nursing home. And then I would walk 2.5 miles home, take a bath or a shower, walk around the corner to Betts Laboratories and work from 8:30 to 4:30 to earn my first semester's tuition to whatever college accepted me first, and that was Morgan State College at the time. And that's how I ended up here in Baltimore. When I graduated from school and from college, and my mother was sick, my dad was dying from asbestos poisoning. I had to help with my brothers and my sisters, mostly my sisters. And one had died by the time she was 19, had committed suicide, and then I had 3 younger sisters, and all who are today on disability because of health issues.
We first met on Morgan's campus, and she was a young, beautiful young girl coming across the campus. She had just graduated. She was, I think, completing business school at the time, and she was teaching at Morgan. I would see things happen, or I would see her engaged in different events, and I said, "What is she doing there?" And there she was.
I started out as a banker, and what I didn't see, because I eventually was allowed to analyze financial statements and determine companies' lines of credit, but what I didn't see were Black people coming in and getting lines of credit. And I'm like, well, how are our businesses growing? How are our businesses sustaining themselves?
She was at the heart of that, and at the heart of literally a dozen or more businesses getting money in the early 70s so that they could contribute to the Black community and build up and become whatever we have now stands on the back of that work that was done in the early 70s. I saw the newspaper, and I saw it for a couple of weeks in the community. I said, "Who is this? Who is it?" I mean, because the Afro was the dominant newspaper in the Black community, and of course the Sun was the dominant newspaper in Baltimore. I'm saying, who is it that's crazy enough to start a newspaper and go up against these newspapers? And it turned out to be Catherine Pugh. And it made perfect sense what she was doing. Not perfect economic sense, but perfect sense in the sense that it was an expression of who she was, and it was a continuation of her passion, literally, for Baltimore and the Black community.
I remember going to the Ku Klux Klan march in North Carolina. People needed to see what that looked like, and how frightening that was. I remember covering the Miami riots, and then going to the Congressional Black Caucus and taking the Greyhound bus to Chicago and staying in the YMCA to see Burton Jordan's last speech as president of the National Urban League and bringing that information back to the community. Reg Murphy, who used to be the publisher of the Sun Papers, was one of my great heroes. He said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to bridge that gap between the Black and white community. He said, okay, let's give it a shot. And we started out with Black History. And the Black History supplement was inside the Sun Papers. And I got a call the following day saying that it did really well. What's next? And so it became 5 publications a year. And then we created the Henry G. Parks Bridging the Gap Award, which was just, Kurt Schmoke was mayor then. He gave out the first award. And the award was for the Black person and the white person who had worked to equalize economic opportunity for Black folks and opportunity for them in the city. Every year we would salute the 50 leading Black businesses in the city, businesses that people didn't even know.
She went into public service and she would meet with people from the beginning of the day to the end of the night, and then she would go to sleep for whatever, she'd fall asleep, and then for whatever time she'd wake up, do a run, and then she's back to the same grind.
I've been grateful for I've had so many experiences. Mississippi side, Michelle Obama doing the State of the Union address because you passed a law that required 18-year-olds to stay in school. It's awesome. The Baltimore Marathon, I came up with the concept of a marathon, a half marathon, a team marathon where 4 people would run, like legs, like a relay race. But for me, it was about the economics of what it brought to the city. Now we went from about an $8 million impact on the city during our first one to now close to about $40 million impact on Baltimore City. Fish Out of Water project was one of my favorite projects, put smiles on the faces of the people in the city. One of my greatest accomplishments to me was the Baltimore Design School, which is a fashion architect and design school. It took me almost 7 years because I spent 2 years looking at it, another year or 2, convincing people that it was something that the city needed to do, and telling them about the energy that I saw that was up in New York, and then pulling together. And I think that's the best part of that, was pulling together the right people.
I have to go back and constantly remind her of all of the good things, whether it was the marathon, whether it was Fish Out of Water, whether it was taking care of little kids, whatever it was. I had to remind her that she was the person who created that. She was the person who had the vision for it, the initiative for that.
Freddie Gray and what happened following Freddie Gray, it was part of my district where the incident took place. Everything was breaking loose. People were on the streets, police were everywhere. People were upset and they were marching and they were crying, the people were crying. And I never forget when Elijah came out and he says, "What are we doing?" I said, we're trying to just keep people calm. We were holding hands. We were trying to calm people's anger. We even sang one night. I sang one night, "This Little Light of Mine," and just marched down Pennsylvania Avenue. People followed. Everybody dispersed and went home.
Catherine, Elijah, and so many others played a leadership role in trying to steer the community, trying to make the community safe and keep things in line. Catherine's role in it, her participation in it, becomes a moment captured in history. And so it becomes part of that legacy, that rich legacy, and part of that story about her that I don't think should be forgotten. I think it has to be weighed into whatever discussion we have about Catherine Pugh.
I had run for mayor before, and I wasn't looking to run for mayor again. It was suggested that I should run for mayor because of the Freddie Gray situation, and I had been in city council, I'd been in the state legislature, I'd been in the Senate, and I wanted to take on the challenge of trying to fix a city that was broken in so many ways.
When Catherine Pugh was at Pennsylvania North, when young men and women were so upset, she began to sing a song that is appropriate not only for that corner, but for this moment. She began to sing the song, "This Little Light of Mine, I'm gonna let it shine." And so, Catherine, through your life, you have shown a light. And now, God has brought you to this moment to shine a light on our great city and every person in it, so that we will do what you said on that corner to those young people. You constantly said to them, this is the greatest city in the world. And so we are glad that you are here to lift us up. Ladies and gentlemen, the 50th mayor of the great city of Baltimore, Mayor Catherine Pugh.
When I think about me and my capacity and my capabilities and all the things I've been able to do, I said, how do you end up here? I mean, how do you mess this up? I messed up. I really messed up. I'm so sorry. I really am sorry.